All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning hour, number 2, 8 a.m. Wednesday, September 17th, right here on Jocks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to have a conversation now. Here's what we'll do. We'll open up the phones and text 2050. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube because I want to hear if you feel like you've realistically done this or you're okay with this, because this is where we may need to go after hearing Dabo Sweeney's rant in the previous hour on, hey, if you're tired of winning, get rid of me. 8 out of 10 conference championships, 4 national championship games, 2 national titles. Do we have the question, John, as to what brought that on? We didn't have it with the clip, but I haven't heard that. I don't know exactly what was asked. I would be interested to hear what set him off that way, because I've only heard the rant of how frustrated he is and why he's so frustrated. Do we need to change our expectations further as to how we view certain things in college football? You're going to have to wait for that conversation, Greg, but one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
It's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office, you can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you in Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. So many places that can get you in the same day. So many different individuals that can go in regardless of what their age is, regardless of what their insurance situation is. Most insurance plans are accepted. Highly recommend you just going and checking out Family Care Dental. Call them today by calling them at 874-9605. That's 874-9605. It's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
So you have some thoughts, Craig, on where Dabo is going here.
100%.
Okay.
Here's my biggest problem with where we're at right now. And part of it, I will admit, it's the media's doing. I'm a part of it. I can 100% acknowledge that I am contributing on SportsCenter, and Cole is in probably some ways contributing on his game or on his Read and React or on our radio show or on his podcast. Like, we are all contributing in the media to a sense of urgency necessary after a loss. We're all contributing to the panic. Like, I listen to Feinbaum, like, it's all about panic and it's I'm not going to say it's inflammatory, but like it is without making it inflammatory. We're trying to promote the games and the importance of the games. And I think lost in the shuffle of us promoting the games and highlighting the importance of, quote, winning today, we've lost sense of reality of what a couple early losses mean. And this, you can apply this to whoever you want. You can apply this to Notre Dame. You can apply this to Clemson. You can apply this to Bama against Florida State. You can apply this to the loser of the Auburn-Oklahoma game this weekend. You can apply this to Michigan, who lost early. You can apply this to Texas, who lost early. Like, in the event now in which you lose a couple games, nothing is lost. Like, we still want you to watch the game. We still want you to feel pain in defeat. But we don't need to all of a sudden think that you got to throw the baby out with the bathwater the second you lose a couple games. You don't. Like, the opportunity continues to sit right in front of you. Clemson last year won the ACC with 3 losses. And guess what? They were lucky to get in the title game because they needed Miami to lose to Syracuse, and they did. But guess what? Like, we're going to end up with more and more teams that are sitting at 9-3. People still asking about the 2010 Bama season. Oh, you went 9-3 in the regular season. What a horrible year. Yeah, you lost 2 games by a combined 4 points. Like, it happens. Like, you run to a buzzsaw against South Carolina. It happens. Like, it's not fun. It stinks. I wish we could have finished better, but we didn't. We lost a couple games close and the ball didn't bounce our way. It happens. Guess what? In today's day and age, 9-3 is a heck of a year. 9-3 probably gets you in the college football playoff, depending on how difficult your schedule is. And we are not yet, as fans, viewing a 9-3 record as acceptable. I'm not saying you settle. I'm just suggesting, like, 9-3 might actually be a pretty good year. Do you realize last year that Georgia ended up 10-2, but Georgia was about 4 plays away from being 7-5?
We've talked about this with multiple teams from a season ago, that there were multiple teams, Greg, that people thought didn't have a good season, and they were 1 loss off from teams that were in the playoff or in the national or in the SEC championship game. And we talked about this last year about how are we going to change this were we going to be able to sort of alter our opinions on what 8 wins was, what 9 wins was, and that it was maybe very different than what we thought, as to it was a lot better than maybe what it used to be or what it used to look like. By the way, this is only going to change further.
Yes.
When the SEC goes 9-game schedule.
Correct.
We're not going back the other way.
No.
So 8-4s, 9-3s, 10-2s are going to be even further ahead than where they've been for however many years now.
Correct.
And yeah, I think people kind of struggle with it. I think there's a lot of reasons that it's happening. I think fans have come to the grips with the reality of roster change, guys that haven't been in your scheme, your system for a long time, trying to get on the same page with other guys. I think they know that all that's real and all that's feasible. But at the same time, those expectations haven't really changed. Well, why didn't we look dominant against Florida State? Why couldn't we do that last week? Why didn't we do that again this week? And that repetition comes with what? I mean, it comes with reps, being able to replicate what you do. You got to rep it, together. That hasn't happened for a lot of teams. So you might look really good one week and not anywhere near that the next week. Consistency is going to be hard as well.
100%.
And then to go into what you heard Coach Dilfer say at the Birmingham Touchdown Club a couple of weeks ago, and then following up with him on the show, and then us kind of coming to the conclusion of, by the way, it now looks like a lot of these kids, when they do get that one chance against that one big team on film, and they've got 4 or 5 teammates that are in the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten, they're sitting there going, all right, this is my audition.
Yes.
I would like to go from no NIL to $50,000 a year or $150,000 a year to just go be a backup tight end at Alabama, or go be the number 3 running back at Auburn, to go be the number 7 wide receiver at Ole Miss.
Yep.
And so you're going to get a little bit different performance there, which is going to make them harder to beat, harder to deal with. All these things are real, but it does not feel like our expectations are really changing with that. And
no.
And they're going to have to.
The sky is falling when you lose a couple games. And it shouldn't. I'm just being honest. I'm not suggesting that you accept mediocrity or you allow for guys going through the motions or whatever it may be. Still assess, still try to get better, still try to get all these things. But the notion of, well, Clemson season's over is a ridiculous thought. I mean, it really is. You're telling me Clemson can't get right and potentially make a run? You're telling me right now, and people have now been saying this for the last 3 days. Oh, Notre Dame's done. They can't make the playoff. Look at their schedule. We could fast forward to season's end. They might not have a win against a ranked team. The only team that's ranked remaining on their schedule is SC, who's sitting at number 25, 1 loss away from being outside the top 25. So we're sitting there making these judgments about Notre Dame. You're telling me that a team that lost by a combined 4 points to 2 teams that are currently ranked in the top 9, that is on a 10-game winning streak, is not going to make the college football playoff? Or a team that's gone 9-1 in the last 10, sits there at 9-3 with 2 close losses to teams that are ranked in the top 10 or the top 15 or the top 20, wherever those teams end up in Miami and to A&M. You're telling me that team's not going to have a real shot? Of course they are. So we are absolutely the reason why people panic. We are absolutely the reason why we create urgency for these matchups and overemphasize the importance of the game-by-game outcome. Media is absolutely to blame here. So we are the problem. But here on this show, where we have time to kind of actually explain logic, because we have 3 hours a day to fill, I hope you hear us when we tell you, in the event in which you lose a game, all is not lost. It used to be.
Yes.
100% it used to be. You lose 2, you're out of the playoff. For a long time, that was the case. It's no longer the case.
I wonder how the coaches are reacting to this also, because the coaching part of this has to be very difficult, because you have to retrain the brains of your players that, hey, we're not out of this thing. Hey, it's okay. We can bounce back here. On a much smaller scale, it reminds me of a couple of years ago when we had the LSU-Florida game. This was the game that Jaden Daniels essentially went out and won the Heisman on, if you recall. Not that game, but that pretty much cemented him in the spot of, hey, it's yours to lose.
Yeah.
And BK before that game told us, I told him I need you to throw the interception earlier in the year. And we're like, what? He said, I told him, I want you to throw a pick. You never expect a head coach or an offensive guy with an offensive philosophy and an offensive background to say that about a quarterback. Okay, we need you to explain that. He said, well, and this goes back to a little bit of Jackson Arnold last year. We need you to prove to yourself that it's okay to let it rip. So I want you to throw a pick so you can see that our defense is going to go get a stop. We're going to get the ball back. We're going to go score. And then a couple possessions later, we're going to go score again. And we're going to give the game 24-10, and everything is going to be fine. But you know what we're not going to get if you don't go throw that pick? You taking the chances necessary to create explosive plays.
Right.
Not going to happen. And, you know, it's that expectation versus certain things need to take place, but you have to have that conversation of where people are mentally that it's going to be okay.
Yep.
We can move on from this. That's not going to define us. That's not going to keep us from a lot of our goals. Because I would imagine even kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old right now, they've seen college football all the ways we have.
Yes.
That, hey, man, you win, you lose one. All right, now you're painted in the corner. Don't mess up again or you're done. Or you lose to a Northern Illinois, forget it. Your season's over, man.
Season's over.
That's
done.
it. You're not a good team.
You have no shot.
You're not a good team. Not with that loss.
Nope.
Well, not only did they go, they advanced.
Correct.
After that loss. So I would love to hear from some coaches in college right now too, Greg, that have had to sort of shift the mindset, because then how do you balance the importance of every week versus it's okay if we drop one or two?
Correct.
That has to be extremely challenging.
100%. Here's the other thing that I think's amazing. I think maybe it's been front of mind because of Billy Napier's current situation. There's no ignoring the reality of him basically coaching for his job. Like, there's no doubt. Everyone knows that. I think even if you asked Billy right now, he knows he needs to win some game to keep his job, right? It's fair. It's an understandable conundrum that he's in right now. But at the same time, you sit there and everyone continues to cite the record. Oh, well, he's 20-21. Okay. Dan Mullen was X and X. Jim McElwain was X and X. They both got fired. Do you realize how much harder it is to win now than it was 10 years ago? And that's not a referendum on Coach Mack or Coach Mullen. It's a whole heck of a lot harder to win now than it used to be. Because guess what? All the guys that used to just stockpile on your roster, those third string guys that were redshirt sophomores that were just waiting for their opportunity to go and become an All-American, all those guys, when you could go 12 deep on the defensive line, you might go 4 now. So the absence of a Tim Keenan is extremely, extremely challenging to overcome. The absence of a Jam Miller is very difficult to overcome. The absence of a Lenoris Sellers is impossible to overcome. See South Carolina last week. Like, the rosters are so much more thin. And yes, right now, first 5-6 weeks of the season, Vandy's best against Georgia's best, the gap is not that significant. Not like it once was. Because Vandy's starters, not saying all of them, but Vandy's starters might be backups at Georgia and or Bama and or Tennessee. For that quality of player, I'm not saying those specific individuals, that quality of player would have been depth and in some cases maybe better than starters at those schools right now. Yes, as season goes along, Vandy will not be as good in 7 weeks as they are right now because they're going to have attrition. It's the SEC. Guys are going to get banged up. And guess what? Their twos probably not as good or as capable as the twos you'll see wearing big block G's on the side of their helmet. Why? Because they're not 4- and 5-star athletes coming out of high school.
Totally fair. Yeah.
So I think that here, especially in the first 5 weeks of the season, first 6 weeks of the season, before attrition starts to become a huge issue, you got to just knuckle down and just hang on for dear life. Because the best programs with the best talent profile, with the best recruiting, with the best players, albeit young in some cases, those are the ones that will be better as the season goes along, as opposed to the teams that will come out like gangbusters and then fall off because they don't have the depth, behind them once they start to have an injury or two.
All right, so we'll ask you this. Do you think you have adjusted your view of college football success overall, in general? 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. You can also text into the show, 205-834-9450. We do have a couple people chiming in via Twitter that want to be a part. Not That Allen tweets in, the preseason media set unrealistic expectations for teams. We were told how great Alabama was going to be, then Florida State game hit. Clemson fans were told how great Klubnik was, and he isn't. The media owns a lot of the problems. Didn't have this 40 years ago. You can pick and choose which media you consume, though. Walker Hayes tweets in, I don't necessarily think it's the media. I think for me, it's the selfish 15-yard penalties, loafs, and tackling gets beat inside. Lack of fundamentals and accountability from a team with a top 5 roster is what frustrates me. It shouldn't take you losing to change. Well, when you don't know what you are week 1, maybe it does. Royal Payne tweets in, additional to everything y'all talked about, is there are big differences in the strength of in-conference schedules now, and that completely throws off the record versus power rating. So Greg talked about strength of schedule yesterday on the show, went through a couple different teams, which was interesting to hear that perceptually where certain teams are and then who they've played, or perceptually teams that don't have a great record right now versus what they've played, sometimes is very different and should be viewed in different ways. Like you mentioned with a Notre Dame team and where they stand.
Yes.
Versus who they've played.
And what would their record be if they played the same schedule as Missouri?
Indiana.
Or Utah. Or Texas Tech. What would the record be?
It's fair to ask.
I mean, we don't know for sure that they'd be 2-0, 3-0, but pretty safe bet. You think Notre Dame could be sitting 4-0 if they played Iowa State's schedule? You think they could have handled Arkansas State and
I would like
Kansas
to think
State,
so. I mean, I believe
Iowa.
so. And this is probably gonna take a while because we've been stuck in a certain area of how we view teams, grade teams, judge teams for a long period of time. It's just different now. It's just it's different. And you mentioned that talent gap, and then I think too, like what we just referenced, that Walker tweets in. You know where a lot of those things happen? As far as accountability and 15-yard penalties, sometimes lows, getting beat inside on certain things, comes to guys not playing together.
Yeah.
Because you're not a team. You can't get on the field game 1 after you have maybe 6 guys on offense and 4 guys on defense that have never been in a game together, on the field together, and think you're a good football team. It's not possible. That doesn't mean you can't go win the game, but it's going to be a lot more individually how guys play and how guys perform, and the team will be built as the season goes on. You don't know how he's going to react. Greg can tell you this too. You get in a game, and all of a sudden, certain guys are yelling at you, and certain guys are flipping out, and you're like, where has this been? What happened to the dude in practice that was calm, cool, collected? And then you get other guys in the game, something goes bad, and they just kind of jog off the field. And you're like, wow. I've seen that guy blow up when he lost a game of Boo-Ray. Like, what's the problem now?
Correct.
So people are different in different situations. It takes time to build all that continuity. So and that's what's going to make this season. I talked about this last night at the quarterback club. Like, that's what's going to make this season so much more fun. Because where we are now is not where we're going to be in 3 weeks. And where we are then is not where we're going to be 3 weeks later. There are teams we're barely talking about that are going to be front of mind in 3 weeks. There are teams that we think are great right now that in 6 weeks, we're not going to waste our time talking about them. Because everything is so close and everything is so different. And some of these teams are going to grow, build. That continuity is going to continue to mesh, get better. And it's going to be cool to talk about some of those teams in a little while.
Yep.
But there's so much that we don't know right now.
There's so much that we don't know, and there's so much that can be improved. I think people just jump to conclusions far too early in the season. Like you referenced, a lot of new every year, a lot of new. You're taking it year by year. These are no longer programs. There's 1 year snapshots of what the program can be this year. It's no longer like, oh, hey, it's a 5-year plan. No, like it's year to year. So like if a team's not playing up to your potential right now and you're disappointed and or concerned, it doesn't mean things can't get righted. It doesn't mean things can't come out the other way looking good. And we've said it the other day on the show. What might have been the best thing for Alabama this year?
Losing that game.
I think losing that game at the end of the day, if we fast forward, and if they, guess what? They might lose a couple more. That could absolutely happen. We'll see. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could happen for sure. Like, let's acknowledge the reality. But if they end up really turning the tide, no pun intended, and playing really well down the stretch, I guarantee you we will be able to point back to that Florida State game and say that was a galvanizing force in that locker room. It was a wake-up call in that locker room. And I think sometimes hate to, and Coach Saban always would say, don't waste a failure. Don't waste a failure. Well, that was a failure in defeat. Now, the galvanizing force behind that defeat and the negativity surrounding that defeat has led to what might be a bunker mentality, us against the world mentality, which is really healthy for a positive run. And we'll see. But I think it's a fascinating conversation and one that needs to be had with the mentality that these guys are dealing with nowadays.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. 800-239-9569. Have you adjusted? Can you adjust? Will you adjust to some of the new things and maybe ways we need to view college football teams? Michael Kirby tweeting in, I 100% agree with everything you're saying, but the problem is that fans need to calm down. But there is the legend faction of Feinbaum callers are giving platforms to rant and rage over a loss, wanting to get coaches fired. That's their opinion. And fan is short for fanatic.
Yes.
And it's not just Feinbaum where they have those platforms. That's a big one. But you have social media. You have message boards. You've got other shows. There's a lot of ways people can be heard. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, all of them. Jolly tweets in, I wish more people would listen to what you and GMAC just discussed. As a fan, I fall into the same traps any fan does, but listening to that is the truth. The landscape's changed. It's very true. It's harder to win. Talent not stockpiled on teams as it was. Carson Fisher tweets in, I think with the players now basically being professional players, I wonder if performance-based pay will happen anytime soon.
It already is in there. It's already there. A lot of these deals are incentives.
You can't state it that way publicly, I don't think.
Oh, they are barometer deals. When you reach certain barometers and in performance, sometimes team, sometimes player, sometimes individual, sometimes collective, like you get paid in success, which is great.
All right, we'll get to a break. You hit us up, 800-239-9569. Let us know your thoughts on if you can adjust, will you, how that's going to change, and more next right here on Jocks. 800-239-9569. You want to get in. Will you adjust your thoughts towards what is a successful college football season? Can you find a way to begin to or loss moving forward? Also, you can tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. Did we find the question in the Dabo thing, John?
No, because his answer was 17 minutes.
That's it? Point across.
And he did that. We thought, what's his name, gave us a long answer. What was it? I think 7 minutes that one time, that one interview we had.
The one guy that came on the show?
Yeah.
That one guy.
That guy.
That guy.
Yeah, he was great.
Guy Guyman.
The one with the long answer?
Yes.
642,
He was so good.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
We need to get that guy on again.
Big guy.
Let's get him on. Book him. He gives great answers. I don't know what we're referencing, but I think I remember us having a discussion.
The guy.
Yeah, hit that one. Mm-hmm. So.
Guy Guyman.
It's going to be tough, man, because specifically with Georgia fans, Bama fans, Florida fans that have lived through great runs with their college football teams. Auburn fans with the ups and downs. You want to keep it in the ups. You want that to be there forever. Why does it go back? Why are there ebbs and flows? And those are going to be more consistent, more regular in today's college football. It just is. But there's also more opportunity in today's college football, Greg.
Yes.
There's better chances to do better things. And that light at the end of the tunnel, maybe because that hasn't always been there, is why it's going to be harder for people to get on board.
Right. I mean, I think that's a big challenge, is that people are a little bit stuck in the past and are a little bit subjected, not in a bad way. I mean, little subjected to what it once was. And they have this appeal, this longing for the past, and the nostalgia of going 11-1 and that being a disappointing year, and the undefeated teams and seasons for like I don't know if we'll ever see another undefeated. I really don't know. Do you think we'll see another undefeated?
It doesn't feel like it.
It feels unlikely. I'm not saying it can't happen. It just feels unlikely. I don't know, man. Like I think it's going to require a bit of a reset. And it won't be easy to stomach. It'll be very hard, but I think it is possible over the course of time that people get a little bit more comfortable with where things head as far as college football is concerned.
Eddie Thomas tweets in, NIU said, hold my beer. Possibly you came into this one a little bit late, and you're just referencing the parts about teams building and not being able to do special things. We referenced NIU with the win against Notre Dame from a Notre Dame perspective of most people would have then thrown their season away and said that they can't go win. I don't know exactly what the reference point is here.
Help me understand.
Don't know exactly sort of, what that was supposed to mean or what we're saying there. But I will tell you this. Northern Illinois went 8-4 last year. So we can use them as a reference point in one game. We can use them as a reference point in a one-off of what happened. But if you're using that as your reference point, are you saying that their season last year should be how we judge things and the standard and how we look at things? Because they lost to Buffalo. And they lost to NC State. And they lost to Toledo. And then they lost to Ball State. And then they lost to Miami of Ohio. So if Northern Illinois is our standard in, but with the new college football, they lost to Ball State and Miami of Ohio last year. Don't know if I'm putting them on the shelf just yet.
Red Hawks rip.
Look at this one.
Miami, Ohio is going to beat UNLV this week.
Why do you hate Dan Mullen?
That's definitely see. UNLV season's over now. I don't know. I don't get the reference.
Does part of this go back to the why Michael Jordan was great, why Kobe Bryant was great, why some of these guys who understand the process and understand that the work put in is more important than maybe the result in games, things of that nature, and that how much harder it is to build an actual team this day and age. And it's just wanting the now, wanting everything today. And I don't think I can use Billy as for that example anymore because there's so many people that want it done and that want it to happen. And there have been more than acceptable incidences of this can't be what it is.
Right.
That I think I am almost to the point now where what are we waiting for? It just feels so inevitable. And I hate that for him. And I hate that for that staff and some of those players, but it just does. That one feels different to me. So I'm not going to point to that one anymore, but there's also this facet of we want it now society.
Correct.
And just because you have been something for so long doesn't mean that all of a sudden you get that again every single time your opportunity arises. Now, I mean that more year for year than I do week for week in games, but it's going to be different week for week too. You can't go build a team in a half of an off season and one fall camp.
Be great if you could.
Doesn't happen. You can get close. You can try to push it down that path, but you need situations to occur. You need failures to occur. You need to be stressed. You need to be pushed. You need to be tested, all to become a great team. And let's be honest, none of these teams have really been through that yet.
No.
You could say, well, Notre Dame has. Okay, well, does that team know how to win?
So far, no.
So I don't know if I can say they've learned everything that it takes to be a great team just yet.
Not yet.
It's going to take more time.
Not
Hastings.
yet.
Let's go to Hastings on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Hastings.
Yeah, hey guys. I don't know. I don't think it's that hard of a transition to make. I think you started to get it realistically once we went to the 4-team playoff. Just because there were times where that, Alabama, because I'm a fan, just to kind of put it in perspective, would not have made the playoffs, but was able to because they were able to overcome and get up to that 4 spot. You can even go back to the kick 6. You have a playoff there, you're like, oh, Bama could make it and win. But I also think that it's not. I think it's more difficult for the diehard fans, especially those who went through an era without. And I don't even think it's NIL. I think transfer portal, when you guys sit on the depth, it makes it so much more difficult because it's really become more like an NFL style league. There's more games. There's more spots. There's more opportunities to get it right. So even though you drop a game to NIU, then that doesn't mean your season's completely over. But I think a lot of the casual fans who are doing it for sports betting or just have it casually on, they're not as worried about it because they're like, well, they're freaking out. But we see this in the NFL all the time. You look at when was it? Kansas City went 0-5 and somehow made the AFC Championship that year. This stuff happens, and so I think it's you do have some of those fanatics who kind of freak out and go one direction, but I think for the casual fan, it's not near as hard. But for the fanatics, they should start looking at the track record and the body of work of the selection committee over the past couple of years and realize, hey, losses don't necessarily hurt you unless you're the SEC last year and you're going against Indiana, which is a completely different story. But I think it gives you time to, reset, but also understand, injuries are going to be super critical now in comparison to how they were. And so, you made the Vanderbilt reference, there's not much difference there if Vandy stays healthy. And so I think it's like the NFL. I think you've got to have a lot more luck in order to win it, but I don't necessarily think that should change a lot of the fanatics mentality, but it will change a lot of the casuals. So appreciate y'all taking my call.
Thanks, Hastings. Appreciate it. I want to give Collins and Marcus credit. They're both tweeting in, helping us out, saying Dabo is answering the question, quote, what is one offensive play you'd like back from the Georgia Tech game? Marcus tweets in, Dabo has asked, what offensive play in the Georgia Tech game do you want back? Then boom, 17-minute rant.
Oh, I can.
So in other words, that was coming no matter what.
Confirm. I can tell you what play that is. It was the RPO where he tried to hit the glance inside, and the guy dropped underneath it and picked it in the red zone. So I can answer that question for Dabo in a much more concise manner.
17 seconds, not 17 minutes.
Under.
Oh. Also tweeting into the show, Walter. So, Cube, do you think it is acceptable to drop passes that literally hit you in the hands twice with defenders not close to you, and you're paid over $1 million to catch passes?
Who said that?
#2. I think he's referencing Ryan Williams.
No, I know, but who said that we said it's acceptable?
I don't know, but I'll answer it anyway. Acceptable? No. It's going to happen. I mean, the best receivers. I mean, Jerry Rice dropped passes.
Yeah, those 2 times.
Okay. Both.
Both
there
times.
They were.
Both times. One in 86 and one in 94.
I don't think it's necessarily acceptable. But I do think that there are going to be I'm trying to relate this to our discussion because I don't really know how it fits in. I mean, I don't feel like we sat here and said that, hey, personal failure should now be, you should be A-okay with that and rewarding that. I don't feel like that's where we went. So yeah, no, I got nothing for you on that. I don't feel like I said that. I don't feel like we said that. If we did, please correct me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm wrong a lot, and I could be wrong this time.
Nobody has said that it is okay to drop passes. Nobody said that you accept.
Let me flip this around.
Mistakes.
Okay, let me flip it around this way. Ryan Williams catches those 2 passes. Do you believe Alabama beats Florida State?
No.
Yeah, you don't even have to think about that. Because we can talk about the left tackle getting smoked inside a couple of times. We can talk about the right tackle getting beat a couple of times. We can talk about defenders not tackling running backs on 4th and 1 in the hole with one-on-ones. You can talk about ball carriers going down sideline with people to make opportunities to get tackles and they didn't get them to the ground. You can talk about not taking on blocks the right way, both linebackers, safeties, edge defenders, defensive tackles, corners not coming up making plays. I mean, the list goes on in that game. I don't think there's a human on earth, maybe there is, that I would talk to that's put the film away from Alabama, Florida State and said, good Lord, man, 2 catches and y'all had it. 2 catches and they win the game.
Yep.
I haven't heard that analysis yet, but maybe it's out there. Try to go find that in the break.
Well, no one is suggesting that you. Here's what frustrates me about a tweet like that is that no one's suggesting that you have to accept mistakes. No one's accepting the fact that you need to not hold players accountable to play their very best, and you shouldn't yell at guys for making mistakes. All I'm suggesting is that in the event in which you go out, play well, and don't win, the sky is not necessarily falling like it once was. All I'm suggesting is that the optics of a 9-3 is not the program's dead. The dynasty's dead. It's this, it's that. What I'm saying is that we need to be more accepting of the fact that teams are no longer superhuman with their depth and that the ebbs and flows and the parity of the sport are a far more significant reality now than they ever were. When Bama would show up there for about a decade, they had such an advantage as far as personnel that it wasn't fair. The game was over before it started. In 10 out of the 12 games they played, it wasn't fair. Seriously, it wasn't fair. There was no point in Mississippi State showing up and in 2013 or 2011, like it was like men amongst boys. It wasn't fair. And that's not using Mississippi State. Just that's anybody. Kentucky. Any of these teams back in 2011, 2012, 2013. Like the personnel gap was so significant that it was not a fair fight.
On the phones in Russellville. We'll get to you on the other side. A couple more tweets coming in on this. It's that season that you might be running your AC during the day, but the heat at night, that stress on your home comfort system is why you need Train. They've been named America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, so you know you can count on the reliability of a Train to keep your home and family comfortable for years to come. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train. We'll get to your calls, get to your tweets next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 8:44, Wednesday, September 17th. Watch us live on YouTube every day. Search Jocks945. And you can listen that way. Greg held on during the break from Russellville. Wants to chime in on expectations. Welcome in, Greg.
Thank you. Good morning, man. I
Morning.
just wanted to say I enjoy you on the weekends doing the games, and so I just wanted to put that out there first.
Appreciate that.
But
now, where I come in, I'm 59 years old, and I have been, most of the, since I was in college at Alabama, I've been to every game, home, away. I did the same when we were losing all the time, But the biggest thing I think has changed for me as a fan is the heroes like you guys. You guys played football at Alabama and Auburn, and y'all are heroes to us. You guys went in there and you stuck it out and you played. You waited your turn and you played. That's why I think Ty Simpson is so popular right now, is he has hung around, didn't hit the first ship out 3, 4, 5, 6 times like some of these guys are doing. And we still want to have our heroes in our schools. And it's like now, I don't even want a kid that's transferred 3 times at Alabama, or 4 or whatever. I don't even want them there. Because at the end of the day, when I do show up at a ball game now, I want to recognize a player that stuck it out. And he might not play but 1 year, but he stuck it out because he was dedicated to the school. And that's where the fans get attached. And now I find myself, if we do lose a game, I don't like it, but it's not as painful, I guess, as you used to say, because I'm not as attached to a lot of the players as I used to be. So that's the big thing, is because, I still watch college football all the time. But it's like the pros. I can kind of take the pros. I'll watch the pros, but I don't have to be here. If I want to go fishing, I go fishing. Whatever I want to do, and I find myself that way now about college too. And I used to not be that way. But anyway, I think that's just the biggest. As far as me, my fiance, I'm Alabama, she's Auburn, and she's the same way. She talks about you, Cole. She talks about all the Auburn guys through the years, and it's hard to get attached to a guy that's been somewhere different every year. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that's the biggest thing hurting football, if they could fix the transfer portal. I think
Understood.
that would help a lot of people's attitudes.
Well, all right, we appreciate the call, Greg. Thank you very much. Just one thing it sounds like we need in college football, guys. It'll make everything better.
I don't disagree with him. I do think the connection to the player is not what it once was, partly because it doesn't feel in some cases like the player is all in on the university, and I think that makes it somewhat challenging. There is a little less, because the guys are getting paid now, there's a little less, hey, they're kids. I don't hear that as much as I once did.
I just appreciate your serious analysis over this.
I mean, it is. It's a jam.
It's all we need. Enrique.
Oh.
It's the only thing we need.
I don't disagree with him. I think he's spot on.
How do we get him back, guys? How do we find him?
I think the sport is as healthy as it's ever been. I think it's as good as it's ever been. But I do think that there is a little less relatability with the player.
That's one of you players is going to step up. Follow the lead of this song. Be a hero.
That is true, because we've had conversations about, villains of college football.
Now you're going to do it too? Try to be serious over this?
Saying, man, we need a hero. Jeremiah Smith, he's one. He's a freshman.
He's the only one out there?
He's sticking it out at Ohio State.
Greg did bring up an interesting point that I was thinking about, though. Has there been a multi-transfer at Alabama that has been successful?
What is a multi-transfer? Like a guy that's been in multiple places?
A guy that has been more than one other place that has been good at Alabama.
Calhoun's the only guy I can think of right now on the roster.
Not now, just at all. Like a guy that it was two other places, came to Alabama and was good.
I can't think of any, no.
Well, first off, there's not a ton of transfers in general. That you would like Jamison Williams, like Landon Dickerson. There hasn't been a ton of guys that transferred in that were even – they haven't needed a ton to come in and do that. Anthony Steen.
Anthony Steen didn't transfer. Steen was a freshman.
Who was the tackle from Vanderbilt?
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Steen. Sorry. Yeah, Tyler Steen. Him too. Not a hero, but a good player.
Yeah.
What year was he there?
Years ago.
22-ish.
Gosh, I forgot about him.
Something or other.
Yeah. You know who could have been the hero?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Cade Klubnik. Had Clemson be 3-0
I thought there was
right now,
another Tyler you were going to point out that could have been the hero for a team that didn't win this past weekend.
Tyler Winklevoss?
No. One that has played at Alabama.
Oh, Caden Proctor. He's transferred multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has not been two other places, though.
It said multi-transferred.
That's true.
That's what we call the seesaw hero.
The yo-yo hero.
Back and forth.
It could have been Cade Klubnik. Had Clemson been 3-0 sitting right now, he'd been looked at as a guy that stuck it on out even when he wasn't as good. It's coming out. Had a great season last year.
Cam Newton a hero?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Yes, he
Transferred.
is. Oh, well.
Can't root for that guy.
It's very much a polarizing conversation there.
He is the hero. Colt McCoy?
There are some examples out there to go against the hard to root for guys that have been somewhere else that I'm pretty sure you were glad you had on your team.
Yeah.
I bet Oklahoma was glad they got Jalen Hurts.
I think so.
Bet USC cheered hard for Caleb Williams. I mean, they didn't win a ton, but
Jeremy Bernard.
I bet Parker Brailsford. But has Bernard been two other places?
Michigan State.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Got him.
Jeremy Bernard, you are the best multi-transfer to ever play at Alabama.
He is.
He's a dude now.
He's a hero.
I love him.
He's a hero.
He doesn't stink.
Nah, don't know if he can qualify for that yet, Damien.
He's good at ball.
That way.
He's good at ball.
He's a great football player. Love watching him play. But can we root for players that have been somewhere else first?
Absolutely.
Root for them, yes. Label them heroes? Maybe not. But there's a connection, as Greg stated, that doesn't seem like it's as deep as it once was.
No. Games are good.
As long as you win them. Will wants to discuss expectations. Welcome into the show, Will. After this break, next on Jocks. All right, when we come back, Dave Pasch going to talk a little Ole Miss from over the weekend. Maybe get some Arizona Cardinals in, as he is a play-by-play voice via radio for the Cards also.